So, you've made the smart move to outsource your accounting. That's awesome. But now you're staring down a really critical question. Who's actually going to lead that team? If you get this wrong, it could undermine the whole operation. But if you get it right, well, you can unlock some massive efficiency. Let's break it down.
And this is really the core challenge, isn't it? You absolutely need a leader, but the right choice isn't always so obvious. Should it be an accounting manager, or do you need to bring in a controller? That's what we're here to figure out.
Okay, so let's meet our two main candidates for the job. Because to make the right call, you have to understand exactly what each of these roles is really designed to do. They're not interchangeable.
First up, we've got the accounting manager. I want you to think of them as your on-the-ground general. Their entire world is the day-to-day. They live and breathe the details of bookkeeping, reconciliations, and making sure all those operational workflows are just running like a well-oiled machine. They manage the team for sure, but their focus is tactical. It's not about long-term strategy.
And then you've got the controller. Now they are the air traffic controller of your finances. They're operating from, say, a 30,000-foot view. They're worried about the overall financial strategy, compliance, and making sure that all the data your outsourced team is pumping out actually lines up with your big-picture business goals. They provide the insights that the leadership team really needs.
All right, so we know who they are. Now, let's put them head-to-head. This is where we'll see where they truly differ when it comes to managing your outsourced team. Let's kick things off with accuracy and compliance. And you got to notice the difference in perspective here. The accounting manager, they're focused on procedure, making sure the team follows the right steps to get the data right. The controller, on the other hand, is looking at the final product, validating that it all complies with major standards like GAAP and handling all that high-level regulatory reporting. Next up is workflow management. Your accounting manager is right there in the trenches, assigning the daily tasks, keeping an eye on deadlines, and handling all that back-and-forth communication with the outsourced staff. The controller, they're thinking bigger. They're focused on improving the entire process, finding ways to boost efficiency, and making sure the workflow itself is built to support the business strategy. And now, we come to the most crucial difference: strategy. This is where the rubber really meets the road. An accounting manager typically just isn't involved in these high-level decisions, but the controller, this is their bread and butter. Their entire job is to translate that financial data into strategic recommendations that are going to guide the company's future.
Okay, so we've seen the comparison, we've seen the breakdown. Now, it's decision time. Let's walk through a pretty simple framework that should help you make the right call for your business.
This is the question you really need to be asking yourself right now. It's not about which role is better. It's about which one is the absolute perfect fit for your specific needs, your company's size, and its complexity.
So how do you decide? Well, it pretty much boils down to one major factor: your company's size and complexity. Let's see where you might fit in.
If you're running a small or a mid-sized firm, an accounting manager is very often the perfect choice. Their laser focus on supervising those daily outsourced tasks, think bookkeeping, payroll, and ensures that your operations just run smoothly without a single hitch. They guarantee the fundamentals are delivered on time and done right. But for larger firms, or really any business that has complex operations, a controller becomes absolutely essential. You need someone who can guarantee all that financial data is perfectly aligned with corporate strategy, can hold up under audit scrutiny, and meets all your regulatory compliance needs. They provide that critical strategic oversight. But look, choosing the right person is really only half the battle. Regardless of who you pick, just hiring someone and hoping for the best isn't going to cut it. So let's look at the winning formula. These are the universal best practices that will help guarantee success with your outsourced team. Effective oversight really comes down to 4 key steps. First, define every task with absolute clarity. You want zero confusion. Second, communicate regularly. Set up a rhythm, like weekly check-ins. Third, use KPIs, that's key performance indicators, to measure what actually matters. And finally, use technology, like cloud platforms, to automate and streamline the entire process. So, what kind of KPI should you be tracking? Well, for an accounting manager, you're looking at the nitty-gritty, stuff like error rates and workflow efficiency. For a controller, the focus is much more in the big picture. Are you compliant? How accurate are your overall financials? Tracking these metrics is what tells you if your investment is truly paying off.
This quote really just sums it all up perfectly.
Understanding this difference isn't just some HR task, it's a strategic imperative. It's how you get the absolute maximum value from your outsourced accounting team. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Is your financial oversight just managing the books? Or is it actively driving your strategy forward? The answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know about who should be in charge.